The geography of a country can provide countless advantages: natural resources, connectivity, and access to the sea. But it can also come with many difficulties, ranging from the risk of natural disasters to infertile land or harsh climates. We invite you to discover which country has the worst geographical location in the world according to our opinion. In this video, we are not going to discuss which country is the poorest or the richest in the world. Instead, we are going to focus on determining which country has the most unfavorable geographical conditions. Imagine it this way. There is an imaginary lottery in which you can choose the territory of a country in order to build a new nation. Some territories would be highly sought after, while others would be left until the very end. What we want to find out is which place would be the least desirable choice of all, the one that we would choose last in that imaginary lottery. So let us begin by looking at the candidates, the countries that face serious geographical challenges that create many difficulties for them. The first case is a fairly familiar example: Bolivia. Because it is landlocked, this country has 5 neighboring countries: Chile, Peru, Brazil, Paraguay, and Argentina, but today does not have its own coastline to trade with the outside world. Bolivia does not even have a convenient waterway to reach the ocean as Paraguay does. In addition, Bolivia has a very diverse landscape. The Altiplano Plateau lies thousands of meters above sea level, creating enormous challenges. However, Bolivia also has some advantages. First of all, it has abundant energy resources. The country has been a major exporter of minerals and natural gas. At the same time, Bolivia is also quite large, covering more than 1 million square kilometers, making it the 27th largest country in the world. Finally, it is located in a relatively peaceful part of the world, and its neighboring countries do not pose a major threat. For this reason, Bolivia is eliminated from the competition for the title of the country with the worst geographical location. Now let us move on to the second case, South Sudan. This is the youngest country in the world and also one of the poorest. To be honest, it does not have a favorable geographical position at all. First of all, South Sudan is also landlocked, surrounded by 6 countries. In addition, there is the issue of climate, because the country lies in a region where rainfall varies greatly, making development planning extremely difficult. It has extensive swampy areas, connections with neighboring countries are difficult, and this is also a region of the world that frequently experiences conflicts and wars. Even so, South Sudan still has some positive aspects. The country possesses oil fields and mineral resources, and it even has fertile agricultural land. This is a very strong candidate in our competition, but let us see whether there is another country that is in an even worse situation. If we move to Asia, we can mention Mongolia. This is a vast country that faces many obstacles. The climate here is extremely harsh. During the short summers, temperatures can become very high, and then the winters are bitterly cold. In fact, Ulaanbaatar is the coldest capital city in the world. The average daily minimum temperature during winter is around -27 degrees Celsius, and even the annual average temperature remains below 0 degrees Celsius. The country has vast mountainous regions and deserts where there are very few opportunities for development. In addition, Mongolia is sandwiched between 2 major powers, Russia and China. This can be both a disadvantage and an opportunity. Even so, considering its enormous size and its rich mineral resources, we believe that Mongolia is still not the worst case. Let us continue to see what other examples there are. If we want to find an example that is completely different from Mongolia, we can look at the very small country of Nauru. With an area of only 21 square kilometers, it is the 3rd smallest country in the world, larger only than Monaco and Vatican City. Nauru consists of just a single island. In the past, the country experienced a period of great wealth thanks to phosphate mining. However, that era has passed, and today environmental degradation is extremely evident. As a result, the land can no longer be farmed, and the country has to import food. On top of that, it is completely isolated in the middle of the Pacific Ocean. The few positive aspects are that it has access to the sea, allowing it to connect with the outside world, and its very small size can sometimes make it easier to provide basic public services. Let us look at another case. From the beginning, we said that the issue is not necessarily related to how rich or poor a country currently is. Therefore, It is entirely possible for a country to be wealthy while still having an unfavorable geographical location, such as Iceland. Iceland is among the 15 countries with the highest gross domestic product per capita in the world, yet it lies in the middle of the Atlantic Ocean and far to the north, only about 3,000 kilometers from the Arctic. Besides its harsh climate, there is another problem. There is extremely little arable land. Only 1% of its territory can be cultivated. On top of that, Iceland also faces many natural threats, especially volcanic eruptions and earthquakes. However, these disadvantages are offset by other advantages. Iceland lies between Europe and the United States, allowing it to connect conveniently with both regions. In addition, the Gulf Stream helps moderate the climate, making it much less cold than many other places at the same latitude. Finally, Iceland possesses breathtaking landscapes, which have created a highly successful tourism industry. Therefore, Iceland is also removed from the list. Let us look in another direction. We have already seen several landlocked countries, but the next case has yet another problem. That country is Lesotho. It is completely surrounded by another country, meaning that it borders only South Africa. This makes Lesotho highly dependent on its neighbor. In addition, there is the issue of its terrain. Not only does it have the fifth highest average elevation in the world at 2,150 meters, but even the country's lowest point is 1,400 meters above sea level, which is a world record. No other country has a lowest point that is so high. The positive aspect is water resources. Thanks to its mountainous terrain, Lesotho is able to produce clean drinking water and even exports water to South Africa. In addition, the country has developed hydroelectric power plants. Although it depends on South Africa is one of the most developed economies in the region, which can also contribute to Lesotho's development. However, when it comes to elevation, Nepal cannot be overlooked. This time we are talking about something on an entirely different scale. Not only is it home to Mount Everest, but almost the entire country lies at a very high elevation. Nepal has an average elevation of 3,265 meters, second only to Bhutan among countries with the highest average elevation above the Earth's center. Although it borders two major countries, Nepal remains highly dependent on India because China lies on the other side of the Himalayas. Nepal not only lacks a coastline, but it also frequently faces natural disasters, especially earthquakes. Nevertheless, the country also has advantages such as tourism, hydroelectric potential, and several fertile valleys suitable for agriculture. We are almost at the end, but it is still difficult to reach a conclusion. In the Americas, we cannot overlook Haiti, a country that is extremely vulnerable. Although it shares the island with the Dominican Republic, Haiti faces much more difficult conditions. Not only is it struck by more hurricanes and earthquakes, but in the past it also experienced severe deforestation, leaving the western half of the island almost completely devastated. Even so, Haiti still has a long Caribbean coastline, which at least offers significant potential opportunities. Finally, our last candidate is the Central African Republic. Once again, this is a landlocked country that depends on its neighbors to reach the sea and is located far from the port of Douala, which handles most of its trade with the outside world. Not only does it lack a coastline, but it also depends heavily on a single transportation corridor leading to Cameroon. It is located in one of the world's most challenging regions, with a vulnerable climate and ongoing regional conflicts. In terms of potential, the Central African Republic could make much better use of its natural resources, such as diamonds, minerals, and timber. Today, these resources remain underdeveloped, which is one of the reasons why the country remains among the poorest in the world. After considering all of these cases, we believe that this is a very serious candidate for the title of the country with the worst geographical location in the world. The only country that could compete with it is South Sudan, because both countries share many similar problems. However, since South Sudan possesses oil fields, we believe that it still has a slight advantage. Therefore, in our opinion, the title of the country with the worst geographical location in the world belongs to the Central African Republic. Do you agree? If it were up to you, which country would you choose? Let us know in the comments.